Hello and welcome. Today, in this discussion brought to you by the fantastic team at Pro Tax Accountant, we're diving into a huge proposed change to UK pensions and national insurance. This is something that could affect millions, so let's break down exactly what it all means.
Let's just jump right in with a headline that's, well, it's causing quite a stir. A major think tank is suggesting that for the very first time, UK pensioners should start paying national insurance. Now, this would completely change the game for who pays for state benefits. And we're not talking about a small change here. The scale of this is just massive. The proposal would hit nearly 8.7 million people. To put that into perspective, that's almost 2 out of every 3 pensioners in the entire United Kingdom. Just think about that. Okay, so you might be asking, what's the big deal? To really get why this is so radical, we need to take a quick look at how the system works right now. It's pretty straightforward, really. The state pension you get when you retire, that's all based on the national insurance you paid in during your working years. You pay in for decades with the promise that you'll get it back later on. And this right here is the absolute key thing to understand. Workers pay national insurance, but pensioners don't. Simple as that. Once you hit state pension age, you're done paying NI contributions, even if you still pay income tax. That little exemption is at the very heart of this whole debate. So, let's unpack this new proposal. How exactly would it work? Well, it's been designed to get around political promises not to raise national insurance directly, in what you could call a very clever, or maybe a very tricky bit of maneuvering. It's basically a 3-step shuffle, or what the Daily Express is calling a fiddle. First, you give workers a nice little 2p cut in their national insurance. Sounds great, right? But then, and this is the key part, you add that exact same 2p onto the basic rate of income tax. And since pensioners pay income tax but not NI, well, you can see where this is going. Their tax bill suddenly goes up. And this little switcheroo, it's not just for show. We are talking about an extra £6 billion in tax revenue every single year. Now, for any government trying to balance its books, that is a very tempting number. So why? Why is this kind of massive change even being considered? Well, the answer comes down to the huge financial pressures the country's facing, and it's all driven by one big thing. We're an aging population. Just look at this projection from the Institute for Fiscal Studies. By the year 2050, the UK is expected to have 25% more pensioners than we have today. A quarter more. That one demographic shift is putting this incredible and predictable strain on public finances. And of course, that strain comes with a hefty price tag. By 2050, policies like the pension triple lock combined with all those new retirees are set to add, get this, £32 billion to what the state spends each year. That's a huge fiscal black hole that someone, somehow, has to fill. So what we're left with is this real clash, right? On one side, you've got a government that is desperate for cash, and on the other, you have millions of pensioners who, feel like they've already done their bit, they've paid their dues. And as you can imagine, this whole idea is incredibly divisive. Critics are calling it another raid on pensioners, and their argument is pretty simple. Is it really fair to tax people again in their old age after they've spent their entire lives paying into the system? At the end of the day, this leaves all of us with a really tough question and, frankly, a lot of uncertainty. How can any government afford these rising costs without asking retirees to chip in more? There are no easy answers here, and that can be pretty unsettling when you're trying to plan for your own future. And trying to navigate that kind of uncertainty on your own, it can be really tough. If you want to get some real clarity on what these changes might actually mean for your specific situation, the smartest move is to talk to an expert. For that kind of dedicated advice, you can get in touch with the team at Pro Tax Accountant. And to make sure you stay on top of these kinds of financial updates, be sure to subscribe to the Pro Tax Accountant YouTube channel. Thanks so much for joining this discussion.